Minute 25. The Warriors are up 9. Pass inside, knocked away, intended for Leonard. Turnover. Lamb gets it, shoveled it forward to Poole. Poole waits, stops, fires for 3. Good! 81-69 Warriors.
Yeah, Draymond as a center fielder is, I think, the best in the league. I mean, there's nobody who can kind of muck up the lane like he can and, just read what's happening, help everywhere he needs to help, and then come in and rebound. I thought the guard rebounding was a really big deal tonight, both Dante and Klay with 11 boards. Klay has really made that a point of focus since the All-Star break to get on the glass. So, between Draymond and Loon directing the defense, our guards getting back on the glass, defending without fouling for the most part, and just staying solid, I think we're finding something.
They are finding something. That was Steve Kerr, the head coach, after the Warriors won their 4th straight game, all at home, and they try to complete an undefeated trip here at home. Tonight, the Pelicans on the back-to-back, their second to last back-to-back of the season. They could go 5-0 at his homestand and hit the road rolling, and a chance to be 4 games over 500.
Bonte, when he called him a center fielder, Draymond Green, when he's playing center field, I was immediately thinking, he's got to be the chunkiest center fielder since Kirby Puckett.
Kirby was a chunk boy.
Kirby was sick, though.
It's one of the first books I ever read, Kirby Puckett, 2-time World Series champion. Rest in peace to Kirby, all-time great twin. But Draymond Green is playing great basketball.
He is.
Damn near dropped a triple-double for the second straight night. Remember, we were worried about the right knee, had a setback over the weekend, injured his hand the other night against the Portland Trail Blazers. But Draymond Green is playing possessed basketball. He's playing possessed. All right, Jordan Poole, the pool party was cracking last night in the third quarter. Klay Thompson, I don't know if he's ever played better. Loon Dog, career year, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 4-7. DiVincenzo, you can go all down the lineup. Kuminga, and reinforcements are coming, folks. Reinforcements are arriving next week with Stephen Curry.
Let me fold the page here on Klay Thompson. I want to stop for a second right here and reflect on this. You sent it to the group chat last night, and I want you to elaborate on it. Why do you think Klay Thompson's playing his best basketball right now?
Well, because the IQ matches everything. He may have the physical limitations, but his brain is operating at such a high level.
Yeah.
He knows where to be offensively. He understands defensive concepts. He can overcompensate for the lack of lateral movement with his mind. He's into the scouting report. And watching him against Kawhi last night, going up against Paul George again, we see him in stretches where he'll guard Jason Tatum, he'll guard Ja Morant, and he's winning with his mind. He's moving his feet well, and all of a sudden he's crashing the boards.
Yeah.
You look at what he's doing on the glass. Okay, Wiggins is not here. Steph is not here. Loon Dong and Draymond need help. I'm going to sag back and get on that glass and start the fast break. I think with his mind where it's at, sitting back, watching the game for 2 years, soaking in all the scouting reports, knowing tendencies or whatnot, and then knowing where to be offensively. And it's even isolation ball. When it comes to isolation ball, Klay is starting to cook dudes, and he's passing. Has he ever been this playmaker? Now, the numbers may not back it up, Shasky, but he is making the right pass. I see it more times than not.
I think he's dribbling more now than ever. Am I wrong on
Feels
that?
like it.
There's got to be some advanced data on like how many dribbles he's had.
Right.
It feels like he is. And then obviously rebounding better. The defense was interesting last night because you talked about knowing the scouting report.
Right.
There were 2 occasions where he's guarding Kawhi and Kawhi's trying to get to a spot. And when you study a player so much, you know which spots he likes to go to.
Yep.
He beat him to the left.
To the spot.
Beat him to the spot. And
Yep.
I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if he could have done that a year ago.
I mean, well, he did at times, though. We forget. Against Dallas.
No,
against
he did.
Memphis.
I'm talking about when he first returned.
Boston. Oh, when he
No, I'm
first
talking
returned,
Now
there was going to
he
be
worked
some
himself
rust.
back.
But he got back in the finals, and he guarded, game 4, he up-flipped it. He had some great defensive possessions, whether it was Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Klay has been getting there when he wants to. So right now, I think his mind is at an all-time level. And so it overcompensates. It compensates for the lack of lateral movement, the lack of physical skill that he has right now. And I don't think they eroded it all. Like, I think his physical skill set offensively is still at the level that it was at in 2019.
If we were just ranking what they were to what they are, he's much closer to the old Klay than Kawhi is to the old Kawhi.
No doubt. I think so.
Right?
And that's crazy to say.
No, I don't think it is crazy to say. Like, just watch them.
Yep.
Like, who's dropped off more defensively? Kawhi from what he was or Klay from what he was? Because I think it's Kawhi.
Kawhi was a DPOY.
Bonte,
he was a guy who could guard 1 through 4.
If we were ranking of the generationally great players, right? If we were ranking Jordan as a perimeter defender, one of the all-time greats. You want to throw Pippen, fine, for sure. Kawhi's on that short list.
No doubt. He's on that list with Jordan, Kobe, Pippen.
I might put him above Kobe in his prime on defense. And I'm not knocking
Wow.
Kobe. I'm saying that's how good Kawhi was.
Yeah.
The strength and just the ball skills.
Offensively, he's still there. Defensively,
he's a shell.
And I don't know if he's saving it for the playoffs.
Maybe.
I don't know if he's saving it for down the stretch.
Maybe.
I have no idea. But Kawhi used to be intimidating on defense to the point where if you're dribbling in front of him, you're like, you know what? I need to pass the ball. His claws are going to come. His claws are going to swipe the ball. I didn't see any of that yesterday.
Me neither. And look, I'm just going back off of reputation. And when that trade happened, when they acquired Paul George, my mind at the time was thinking, wow, you have got two of the premier lockdown perimeter defenders the game maybe has seen in the last 25 years. And it just hasn't come to fruition in games.
You know what hurt the Clippers? And we're going to get back to the Warriors. We'll get to Gene and Anthony on the lines here. 888-957-9570. Shameless shout-out, 745. The pandemic hurt the Clippers.
Why do you say that?
They've not been able to recover from the pandemic for whatever reason. When the pandemic hit, I just watched them come to Chase Center, and they had blew out the – now the Warriors only won 15 games that year. But watching the Clippers in person, I said, oh, boy, they had the stuff of a championship team. They were clicking. They were humming on both ends of the floor. And then the pandemic hit. And as the pandemic hit, they were starting to surge. Pandemic hits, Lakers get healthy.
Yeah.
Something happened in the bubble with the LA Clippers. Remember there were some stories coming out, they weren't getting along.
Yeah.
Montrezl Harrell was getting into it with people.
Right,
I mean, it was
Warrior
a mess.
killer.
And then they blew the 3-1 lead to the Nuggets in the bubble. Remember that?
Yeah.
They blew a 3-1 lead in the bubble.
That
and
was the Jamal Murray coming out party?
Jamal Murray coming out, Jokic coming out, and they just have not they've not been the same since the pandemic. Now, Kawhi tears his ACL the next year. They get to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in franchise history. Good for them. But they just have not been the same, Shasky.
Yeah.
And now when I look at him, Norman Powell's shooting like he's Reggie Miller.
Oh, green light.
I mean, Eric Gordon is 34 years old.
Who's he guarding?
Nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, Bones Highland wants to get his.
Well, and then, like, Terrence Mann, I like as a player, but it doesn't fit on that team.
Well, they don't try to
weird,
make it fit.
right?
He's a good player. They don't maximize him.
I like him.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
I like right now, if you're asking me Terrence Mann or Moses Moody, I'm going Terrence Mann.
I didn't think I didn't know why they signed Russell Westbrook. I don't think that was a need, but Paul George advocated for him. Now you look at Russ, they've signed him, and they're 0 for 4 with Russell Westbrook.
Let's stop there then on Russ. When the early defensive strategy was to sag off of him completely, you were in the arena. The crowd was like daring Russ to take those shots.
It was sad, dude.
And then he bricked a couple in the third quarter, some three-pointers, and the crowd was going crazy. Like, honest to God, I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe we're here. A part of me felt empathy for Russell Westbrook yesterday.
Dude.
I can't believe what's coming out of my mouth.
0 for 5 from 3. 3 of 12 from the floor. 8 points, 6 assists. I don't get why Ty Lue didn't have him in the dunker spot. Get him out of that position. Play him in the dunker. Let him play down low like the Lakers started to do last year. Get him down in the dunker and just get him off of the three-point line because he wants to shoot. Trust me. He wants to shoot. And he knows he can't shoot. He knows that at this stage of his career, he can't do anything. And it makes you wonder, what did he do to work on his game? The game was evolving towards hitting threes. All these analytic geeks want to eliminate mid-range jumpers. But even the mid-range jumper, he's claking. Get down on the block and play the dunker spot. I kind of feel bad for Russ, too. I do.
I hear you on the evolution of the game. When you look at his jumper, I'm not trying to get all fundamental and everything, but like when Klay shoots, is he an apex jump to the top of my leap and then release it guy? Or is he kind of a catch and shoot, smaller jump, because he's a little bigger, kind of a shooter? When you watch Steph or even JP, they don't jump to their height and then get rid of the ball. Iggy's one of these kind of guys. That's why Iggy's shot is kind of hit and miss.
Shaky,
He jumps to the top and then he's a peak releaser. Russ is the same way.
Yep.
He'll never have good form with that. And I'm not trying to get all Rick Barry on you as I break down the mechanics of Russ's shooting. But Bonte,
it's a good point.
It's a flaw in his game.
It's a good point with his shot. It's a very good point. And he just has not adjusted.
No.
And at times he's just reckless, going 150 miles an hour.
I feel bad
and just
for him.
breaking. No,
I really
he's
do.
going to get all the blame.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird fit. Again, Clippers looked cooked yesterday. I thought everybody's like, man, it's a big game. They could beat the Clippers. And Willie was saying it yesterday. If they beat the Clippers, now I'm starting to believe we're going to be working in June. Well, the Clippers may not even be that good. Now let's see them in that 3-game stretch coming up when they play Memphis, Milwaukee, and Phoenix. That's coming up over the next week. Kevin Durant's coming to Chase Center. I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait for that
I
either.
can't wait for that game.
I heard they're going to rebrand the Clippers
To what?
to the 2018s.
Oh, my God.
As in, they were all good when it was 2018.
Oh, my God. That's a cursed franchise. That's a curse. Man, you cannot feel good this morning as a Clipper fan. They scored 35 points in the second half last night.
All 1.5 of you.
Marcellus Wiley.
No, but like this is an interesting point. Like we talk about teaming up and the decision that Kevin Durant made is the worst of all time. Kawhi's ain't much better.
No,
Kawhi
Kawhi's
could have
is
gone
worse.
anywhere he wanted.
And not only that, he married himself to Paul George.
Oh, Pandemic P?
He said, you know what? Get me Paul George to team up with. Not anyone. Paul George.
Well, and then Paul George comes out. This is like just going off the charts. He comes out. We're going to do a podcast. And then I watched the teaser for the podcast just to laugh because there's too many podcasts.
Right.
And he's like, I want to take all the people that want to know about the life of Paul George. Who the hell
nobody
is
wants to know.
asking for the podcast on the life of Paul George?
Nobody is.
Dog, you've been on 3 different teams.
Nobody is.
What are we doing?